Guys, okay, so I know that this is delayed, and I know a lot of people have been asking me about this. Um, the video tonight is going to be about to-dos and to-don'ts, or what to do and what not to do when buying a new home. So you guys do know that I work in mortgages. I work in servicing, which is everything after you've bought the loan, closed on the loan, and everything like that. So I do have a few tips for you tonight. If you have any additional questions afterward, feel free to shoot me an email or to leave a comment. It'd probably be best that you shoot me an email at vancevlogging@gmail.com. And that's vancevlogging@gmail.com. The first thing that we're going to talk about is to make sure that you're buying a home that you can actually pay off. So that means even if you get approved for a $400,000 loan, but you work a regular job, like you're a school teacher, because we know that they're underpaid, or you're a journalist, or something that is normal, whatever. We know that they're underpaid. Just because you get approved for a $400,000 loan does not mean that you have to take a loan or buy a home that's $400,000. You'll probably never live to pay that loan off when you're working a job like that. And I see a lot of people that get homes worth that amount of money and they pass, and then your children don't have to assume your debt. So that means the whole purpose of buying a home, which is investing and not paying rent just to pay rent on something you'll never own, it went down the drain because you took out a loan that you couldn't pay for, and no one is going to assume that debt. So you'll have single people, they're not married, they don't have kids, and they'll take out a loan for that amount of money. So if something happens to you, you don't pay that off, all the investment that you made is down the drain. And I mean, it's just more about not setting yourself up for failure. Like, why would you buy a house worth that amount of money and you're not going to pay it off, or it's going to go into foreclosure? And don't, it's okay, because if I ever do buy a home, which I don't know, if I ever do buy a home, it will probably be a foreclosed home. My first home, I wouldn't get a home more than $75,000. My interest rate would have to be less than 5%. 5% is pushing it. What else? First time, I wouldn't get an escrow account. Sometimes it's mandatory for you to have an escrow account when you first get your loan. Like if it's your first time buying a home, or this is your first year, you have to have escrow for the first year. And what that means is it's a specific account that pays your taxes and your insurance. And it's factored into your monthly payments, to where it's not your responsibility to pay thousands of dollars in taxes or insurance all at one time out of your pocket. And some people like that. I personally wouldn't do it. If I wouldn't have to do that, I wouldn't do it. And I'll tell you why. It's because it's these things called escrow shortage, or it's this thing called an escrow shortage, to where if your escrow account is short, your payment can go up hundreds, thousands of dollars. And what it is it's more money, to where if your taxes or your insurance go up, it's factored into your payments to pay more each month. So ultimately that'll make your payment go up, and you'll pay a shortage. And I've seen people pay like $5,000 in escrow shortage, but their payment will still go up. In order for that not to happen, you have to do what's called an escrow buy down, which you'll probably pay even more than that to keep your payment at the same rate. Just be disciplined. If you don't have to have an escrow, just be disciplined and take the time to factor it into your budget, to where you're putting so much money back every month towards your taxes and your insurance. You'll save a lot more money. I promise. Been doing an escrow account. And it's just a way to just keep your eyes on everything about your mortgage. It's a good investment. You know, you gain equity. You will be able to take out other loans by way of the equity that you gain in your property. Buying a home and owning a home is a great experience. But it's a way to go about everything, and so many people are doing it so wrong. And I'm doing this because I wish someone would have told me a lot of things that I didn't know until I was grown, and I could have dodged the bullet. But a lot of stuff we didn't know. So I'm doing this because I have some insight for it, and I want you guys to be aware of this stuff. Like, I know a lot of people my age, especially the ones that have children or they have families, they're like, okay, I want to purchase a home. That's perfectly fine. Go about it the right way. Before you get a home, do the research. If you see a home that you really want, do research on it. Have an appraisal done, or have, a broker's price opinion done, even if it's unofficial, to show, okay, what's the real value of this property, before you go and get someone to finance you for a loan and they okie doke you and tell you that the home is worth $200,000 when the home is worth $150,000. Because you're going to pay that $200K, you're going to pay closing costs and everything else. So you just missed out on money right then and there at the beginning of the loan, and you barely touched it. Do understand, at the beginning of the loan, just like any loan, even a car loan, you're paying more interest towards that loan than principal. It's not until years down the line where you continue to pay on the loan that you're paying more towards principal than interest. And that's just the way it goes. That's why it's important to get an interest rate that's not extremely high. Don't get an interest rate that's 7% or 7.75% or 8%. That's too high. So if you can't get an interest rate, like I said, 5% to me is pushing it. If you can't get an interest rate between 5 or lower, you're not ready. Unless you can get a loan, like if you get a small loan, it's like $50,000. Your interest rate is 5.5% or 6%. You have to level it out. You can't get, well, you can, but it's not smart. You shouldn't get a loan that's $500,000 or $400,000 or even $150,000 and your interest rate is 7%. Because you're going to be mad in 5-6 years when you're like, I've been making my payments on time, I've been doing everything I need to do, and I still owe so much money on this loan. Your interest is too high. So, I mean, the whole gist of it is just be smart about it. We all have problems with going with something just because we got approved, so we feel like we have to take advantage of, excuse me, we feel like we have to take advantage of every single thing, like, or every little drop of what we get approved for, and it's not smart. Because you can buy a home at a foreclosed home perfectly fine, nothing's wrong with it. The person that was in it before couldn't afford it. You can buy a home like that at 4% or 5% interest rate and pay that off. Do you some additional principal each month to pay on the principal and go ahead and pay the loan off. So then that first home is paid for. You're making money off that, and you're investing in another home. But for your first loan, get something that you can take care of. Like, don't go crazy. Don't try to get a loan that's $30,000. I'm sorry, not $30,000, 30-year loan. That's what I mean. I'm sorry. I have so many numbers in my head because I just got off work. I really didn't want to talk about this. I'm only talking about it because y'all been asking me about it for the longest. But try to get a 15-year loan. That also plays, well, the cost of the loan also plays a part in it as well. Because if you're getting a loan that's a decent amount, you know, it's easier for you to get a 15-year or a 20-year loan versus a 30-year loan. And you could still do that and still not have to pay $3,000 a month for the mortgage payment for 10 to 20 years, because you got something that wasn't so high or so much money. So I mean, it's all an investment. You need to read, like any loan, read these documents before you sign your name, so you have, make sure you have a great understanding of what you're paying for and what you're getting yourself into and what to expect, basically, you know. So that's basically my opinion on it. I started doing this because I said I wanted to get my real estate license. I always wanted to get my real estate license, but when I moved to Florida, real estate is popping in Florida. Like, the whole scene for real estate is great. So I was like, I'm going to go into mortgage servicing and get some insight for myself, one step above the next person or the average real estate agent who doesn't have the insight of what happens for a mortgage loan after the papers are signed. And now I'm in it and I'm like, I don't know about that. But it's still, even if I don't do that, even if I don't get my real estate license, it's still very good information that I can use when I purchase, if I ever purchase my own home, or just to be in the know about. So that's about it tonight, guys. If you have any comments or any additional questions, please email me advancevlogging@gmail.com. It's VANCEVLOGGING at gmail.com. I thank you so much for your support and for tuning in. Excuse me. See, I can't even talk. I'm tired. And I'll see you guys next time. Good night.